Good evening, guys. It's KB5 MIQ Big Boy. We're going to talk about something tonight. It's the first time I've had an opportunity to do a video when one of these was going on. We're going to talk about the Hurricane Watch Net and the procedures that goes with it. And the little ham radio cat just jumped up here. Come here. Let everybody see you. You're still kicking. Still a knothead, too. Okay, the Hurricane WatchNet, an operation of the WX4 NHC at the National Hurricane Center in Miami, are manned entirely by volunteers. We generally activate whenever a system has achieved hurricane status and within 300 statute miles of populated land mass or the request of the Forecasters National Hurricane Center. To achieve mission goals, HWN Hurricane Watch Network relies upon its members, experienced net control operators. Some are seasoned ex-military and or Mars operators. Others have gained experience through public service roles. On the average, there are 40 active members strategically located through U.S., Canada, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. To better assist those who speak Spanish only, the Hurricane Watch Network has a number of bilingual operators. When activated, you will find us on 14325 MHz USB by day and 7.268 MHz lower sideband by night. That's upper sideband by day on 20 meters and lower by night on 40. If propagation dictates, daytime operation will be conducted on both frequencies simultaneously. Why did we state these frequencies at a plus or minus amount? Because those who are operating using marine radios have to program in the frequencies. Marine radios do not have a VFO or a RIT. Furthermore, these two frequencies are pre-programmed into many marine radios. Many non-hams listen via shortwave radio and know this is where to find us when we are activated. Before any net activation is either frequency is used, we always ask permission to use them. Additionally, it is our practice of being on the air ahead of the amateur radio station, being on the air ahead of the amateur radio station at the National Hurricane Center, WX4NHC, for the explicit purpose of establishing our net operating frequency, to issue advisory data and to line up reporting stations. It helps us tremendously to know operators' names, locations, and weather measuring capabilities in advance of a storm arrival. During any net activation, Operation 7268 will suspend at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time to allow the Waterway, Radio, and Cruising Club Net to conduct their daily morning net if required due to poor daytime propagation on 14325. Operations on 7.268 may be required at the conclusion of the Waterway net. The Hurricane Net Watch serves three purposes: disseminate the latest advisories issued by the National Hurricane Center. We do these for marine interests, Caribbean land and Central American nations, and other interests where public media is not readily available. To obtain real-time ground-level weather conditions and initial damage assessments from amateur radio operators in the affected areas, and relay that information to the forecasters at the National Weather Center by way of WX4NHC. That's the station located in NHC. That's the National Hurricane Center. To function as a backup communications link for the National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service forecast offices, the Canadian Hurricane Center, emergency operations centers, emergency management agencies, non-governmental organizations, and other vital interests. This can involve military relief operations in the protection of life and property before, during, and after a hurricane event. Along with the weather reports received, often come reports of damaged roads, power outages, structural damage, phone communication outages, and of course reports on casualties. These non-weather report items are usually relayed to other nets in operation on 20, 40, and 80-meter amateur bands who are focusing on health and welfare, or by the crew of WX4NHC to the appropriate agencies that stay in touch with the National Hurricane Center. Standard operating procedures for stations reporting from the affected area. Stations within a watch or warning area are encouraged to report your local weather conditions. Those who are already experiencing a wind speed 30 miles per hour or greater or a falling barometer should definitely report to Net Control Station. As hurricane approaches landfall, the net will narrow request to Pacific area or call for stations experiencing certain conditions, such as winds at 50 miles an hour or greater. There's some operating procedures here. If you're in these areas, you're well versed in these operating procedures. For us that is not in the areas, it's very important we stay off those frequencies and stay at least 3 kilohertz either side off the frequencies. It's great to monitor them. Do not transmit. It's also that net is not for you living in Arizona to see how the hurricane's doing. That's strictly for those people in the affected areas of the hurricane or in the path of the hurricane. And you'll notice it's all single sideband phone by radio. That's what works when all else fails. Internet's down. A lot of these third world countries don't have good internet to begin with, so you're not going to be able to rely on it. That's one of the reasons that the digital modes are not accepted at field day for emergency practices. Even though some of them may use them now and there on that, I don't know. But one thing is a lot of big fussing about FT8 not being able to use it at field day. It's not accepted digital practice. Not accepted practice for emergency traffic. Also, all this DMR, fusion, all this stuff that's relied on the internet, that's not going to be used. Old school single sideband phone is what they're going to use, National Hurricane Center. And that's good. I think that's great that they do that. And I urge, especially you shortwave listeners and you guys just wanting to monitor the stations. Just don't transmit. Them guys got a lot going on when they do that. I actually got to fly on a Weatherbird one time, not in a hurricane. They just used it to shuttle us back and forth between the island of St. Vincent and the U.S. But it's kind of amazing being a C-130 that's got a fuel tank in it. You can't hardly get around in the middle of it, and that's how long those guys stay in the air doing that. So, hope everybody stays safe. If you're in affected areas, you got a ham radio license, check into the National Hurricane Center net. All the rest of us monitor it, but let's stay off the frequency and let them have it. And hope they're all safe and this thing doesn't get too bad. In fact, looks like we're even going to get rain out of it up here in northeast Texas. Guys, I hate to keep bringing stuff up like this, but social media is great. I'm using social media right now to talk to y'all. It's great. But if we cannot quit the sad ham stuff on social media, I guarantee it's going to come back to haunt us one day. Bring up FT8, grounding or lightning protection, and the answers go off the wall. The Hammerheads crew jokes with me a lot about FT8, but they ain't got nothing against it. But they sending me a lot of jokes and a lot of comments that one of these pages had, and I was reading some of them. FT8's not killing ham radio. If anything, FT8 is maybe helping ham radio by getting some more people in it and keeping people in it. POTA is not killing ham radio. POTA is popular, and a lot of people do it. Don't trash these new modes or digital modes or anything that people are doing, because we got to do stuff to keep people interested in this hobby, or we're going to lose it. Perfect example of what we're here for is this National Hurricane Net. That's what ham radio is all about. I urge y'all to monitor it, listen to it. And you guys, if you're interested in getting into ARES work or any kind of emergency communications work, listen to the net. Listen to the radio procedures. That's going to be good, give you good operating instructions for future use in any kind of an emergency net. It's not just normal rag chewing like we do day to day. It reminds me of what I did in the military when I was managing nets when I was in the Air Force Reserve. It's all business. It's all about getting a clear, concise transmission and getting the message out quickly, concise, and correctly, and knowing how to operate your gear. So don't ever forget that. Enjoy this hobby. Love to see people getting into it. Tip for ham clubs. I may have said this a long time ago, but watching our club today, here's an idea. If you're having low attendance, you can start out with small prizes. Go buy a roll of them cheap raffle tickets at Walmart. Our club gives everybody a free ticket when you come in for the meeting. Then you can buy more tickets. And they've been doing this in the 2 years I've been a member, and the prizes are getting better and better. This weekend, they gave away a Flex Radio 6400M HF rig, 2 Yaesu CFM, C4 FM digital radios, 1 FT70D like I got, and 1 mobile, coax, go bag boxes. They do that every month, and our average attendance is at least 50 every month, strictly by doing a raffle, a drawing. Not really a raffle, I guess you call it a raffle, or a drawing for prizes. Our vice president runs it. All the prize money, all the ticket money he gets goes back into prizes. And it keeps people coming to the meetings. Just something to think about. If you've got a question about how to operate it, I'm sure KI5NHC, Greg, 4-States Amateur Radio Club, if you shoot him a message on Facebook, he'd be glad to answer any question you have on trying to do that. But it's a good way to get the membership up in the club. Guys, we got Main Trading Company fixing to move in their new business. Hopefully we'll get to see that. If they have a grand opening, I'm planning on being up there that day shooting some video. As soon as we hit 1,700 subscribers, we're going to do another giveaway. We're at 1541, and I'm almost about to get my first YouTube paycheck. It's being monetized by YouTube has really turned into being interesting. I'm about to make my first $100 since January. But guys, I couldn't have made that without y'all. I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. And whether I make any money or not, as long as y'all like listening to me, we're going to keep doing this. It's KB5 MIQ Big Boy 73.